Welcome to Inspiring Teachers, a show bringing you classroom tips, motivation, and stories from successful educators. Join Tavis Bean and Danny Hogger as they explore the why of teaching.
Welcome to Inspiring Teachers. I'm Danny Hogger, and I have a great idea for the classroom that I hadn't done before. And whenever I try something new, I want to share it with you. And rhyme, too. Oh, electric boogaloo. The last part, I think maybe we shouldn't have worked in there. Before we start the show, let's talk about our friends and our partners at GoVenture. They have a new idea and a new plan for financial literacy teaching that's increasingly being used in schools and universities, and they've got a very special offer for teachers. It's a free online course that will help you gain the wisdom to make better money decisions in your own life. Plus, the course will prepare you to teach financial literacy to students and impact the quality of their life and the ability they have to take care of themselves. This course allows you to learn at your own pace, which is awesome, and it uses experiential learning, so it keeps changing it up and keeps you encouraged from start to finish, and you stay engaged through the whole process. Expand your career opportunities and gain the confidence to be a teaching superhero by enrolling in this course today. It's only going to be free for teachers for a very limited time. You can go to teachingsuperhero.com to sign up. That's teachingsuperhero.com, and it's brought to you by MediaSpark, the makers of GoVenture. And we can't start an episode of Inspiring Teachers without thanking our friends at ampeduplearning.com. I've been posting a lot of new resources lately on the Hogger History Store. I've got resources including podcast questions and answers that I'm going to talk about today. I have resources that are entire journals for the whole year, so you have a quick write or bell work for every block in your block schedule so that you can have historical events and talk about them. Plus, they have Freck resources. They've got engaging English and math stuff to get your class out of the sit and get rut and get them moving around. Plus, if you use the promo code HoggerHistory10, you're going to save 10% off your order and be able to get even more resources for your class. And you're supporting a company that's owned by two teachers and teachers that make all the materials. So it's a big win-win-win. You know what I mean? I do, because I just talked about it. And they have been a wonderful partner for this very show for quite a while. And I'm very grateful for both of those programs helping us give you these free advice and tips each and every week. Now, if you cut those words around, it would look really funny because they didn't fit together, but you knew exactly what I meant. I'm Danny Hogger, and it's really great to talk to you. I hope you are having a great February. It's always a fast-moving month, and it's the time of the year where fresh ideas can be very helpful for teaching. So recently, I listened to an episode of The Moth at themoth.org, and they have storytellers and live events all over the country and on a variety of subject matters and speakers from around many, many backgrounds. I mean, if you could think about almost anything, there's a Moth story for that subject, and I really like listening to it. I was raised in a broadcasting background because I grew up right before everybody had a TV in their room. And so I did have a radio, and I loved listening to the Sacramento Kings Basketball Network and Gary Gerald. I really liked hearing talk radio of all different kinds. And I really found myself loving general comedy talk radio and general storytelling, where you never really know what you're going to get. And it's a very assorted blend of ideas, concepts, speakers, and I could gain so much information that being an auditory learner and someone who likes to listen first has always been my preferred way to gain information. I was never the one who wanted to curl up with a good book. I liked reading early on, and then I found myself enjoying audiobooks and hearing stories and was kind of better able to let my brain and my eyes free up to imagine the world in which the stories took place. I think it may have also had to do with enjoying video games, but that's something that people of my generation will also appreciate, I'd imagine. And now everybody plays video games, it seems like. So I went to themoth.org and I grabbed a recent episode. We happen to have been learning about the migration of people in between World War I and World War II. And I talked about how different countries had different policies as far as how open their door was. We connected that with current events and a recent Supreme Court decision on the 27th of January, 2020. And it was the perfect time to slide in a 15-minute story following a test in my world and U.S. history classes. It was a chance to let students try something different because I find we're glued to screens constantly. And so this gives them a chance to put their screens down. Gives me a chance to divert their eyes away from the front of the room. That way, your hot and cold spots around the classroom don't come into play. Everyone can hear the speakers in my room. If you don't have a great pair of speakers, it's worth the investment in the way that your kids are going to retain information. And then we just listened. I printed out questions and answer sheets And these are available on Amped Up Learning and Teachers Pay Teachers at the Hogger History Store. But actually, once I got into the room, I didn't give them out. The very first time I did it was this morning, and I wanted them to just listen. I just wanted them to train their attention span. I wanted them to focus on the words and not be bogged down with looking for answers and reading and thinking and writing, because I thought that would get in the way of them being able to understand and be good listeners to the material. So I did. And I asked them about it after, and their grade wasn't tied to it, so I asked for open feedback. And I played 2 stories. And the second one, they told me was much better. They thought it was really engaging. It made them think differently about current events. It made them think deeper about current events. And then in the end of the story, they felt like they understood why the headline was actually important, or the impact of the news and the current events around the world were actually important. And I connected that to that one day, these events of today will trigger butterfly effects that will be in history books. And then I think they understand more about why we're doing the things we're doing today in class, why we're learning the things back in the past, and how they do end up connecting, meeting in now, in the present, and building to the future. When you can take moments to do that, it's not always directly curriculum aligned, but if you can build the skill of connecting material to historic events, you can bridge the two. And then I think students understand why you're making all the choices you are as a teacher to bring those 2 things together. I love doing it. I wasn't sure how it would work. I'd never done it before. I was nervous that they wouldn't be attentive or that maybe they would lose interest. And I think that 90% of the class was right there. And I think they definitely gained insight about the story. They didn't have to agree with the perspective of the storyteller. They didn't have to write anything down. We discussed the questions after instead, and I think it was great. When I reflect back, one of the things I'm thinking maybe I'll do later in the day is have them get into groups of 4 and discuss with themselves about the story, thinking they may be more eager to share when they're not put under the spotlight of the classroom pressure and the perception of what they have to say. And I think any teacher can do this. I think this will work in any classroom. There's plenty of science podcasts. There are plenty of educational podcasts on any medium that you can grab and play. And why not take time to listen and even experience what the world was like before video a little bit, and how information could be disseminated by storytellers preserving oral tradition, handing down these memories to future generations. Well, it's nice and short and simple as far as episodes and tips for today. When I go solo, I try to just get right to the meat of it. If you want more from me, you can go to ampeduplearning.com, go to the Hogger History Store. You can go to dannyhogger.com to get there if you want. My new album, All at Once, is available on iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. And you can subscribe to the Danny Hogger YouTube channel as well. I post history videos and recaps for students there. And I hope that you'll help share all these resources that are almost all free and available for you. So thanks so much for listening to Inspiring Teachers. And it has been a real pleasure being able to see the audience grow, and how many wonderful PLN and friendly teachers there are on Twitter, which is my preferred medium, and how many great things are being shared from educators everywhere. So keep it up, everybody. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below. You can also email me. I'll go ahead and give you the personal. I don't usually do that. But dannyhogger@gmail.com, or through the website at dannyhogger.com. And until next time, for now, everybody, it's been great talking to you. I hope you're doing well. We'll see Tavis Beam again real soon. For now, class is dismissed. Thanks a lot.